Come take a seat on the couch. Welcome as we talk about everything under the sun. You only live once, so I live my empowered life. Welcome to the charging station. No matter what you're facing, you can join the conversation. Be at the charging station.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Charging Station podcast. It's your girl, Tracy Massey of Living My Empowered Life. And as you can see, if you are watching this on YouTube, as you can see, I got family in the house, y'all. She is one of my favorite people. She is an amazing influencer, author, DJ, so many things. And I am super excited and honored to have her here on the Couchy Couch today. Everybody, grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your water, grab your wine, whatever your beverage of choice is, just grab that thing because we're about to get into it. Everybody, let's welcome my favorite, Miss Ty Alexander. Hey, Boo!
Hey, Boo. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Thank you for being here. Look, I'm so excited. I knocked my camera chair.
Knock the things over, sis.
So thank you so much for being here and giving us a moment of your time, because I know that you are super busy. That, outside open back up, and ma'am has been out here killing it.
We outside. I got things to do.
Outside. And first of all, I just want to say I am so proud of you for what it's worth. I am so proud of you. You know, I have seen you pivot and you just made a whole dream come to life. You've done the thing that people talk about doing, and you did it afraid. And I'm just so proud of you for doing that. Like, that inspired me to go out here and do some crazy stuff. Like, not crazy, but you know what I mean. Like, it's stuff that people tell you that you can't do, or it may not make sense to other people. But when you have a dream and you have a purpose, it just doesn't leave you alone.
It doesn't.
So I'm just so inspired by you. So what we're talking about, I'm jumping ahead of my notes, so we might as well just start right here.
That's okay.
It's going to flow really good. Ty, during the pandemic, tell everybody what you decided to do.
So the crazy part is the timing just appeared like I did it because of the pandemic. But what happened was I had said towards the end of 2019, I have a friend who's a family member who is also a DJ, pretty well-known DJ here in Baltimore. And I asked him, I said, I really want to learn how to I want to learn how to be a DJ. Can you teach me? And he's like, well, we have some classes coming up. Just stay tuned. I'll keep you posted. That was like in November or October. And then so come February, he's like, oh, well, our class is about to start. Do you want to do them? I was like, hell yeah, sure. It might have been it was under $500. The class was relatively affordable right. Exactly. It ain't that price now.
The price went up.
The price has since went up. At the time, it was his very first class. He was still trying to get, the curriculum together, whatever. So I was like, sure, I'll take the class, whatever. Always wanted to DJ. Anyone who knows DJing back in the day was really expensive, between buying lots of vinyl, the turntables are expensive. Even now, turntables are like $2,000 for like one, turntable. Like it's an expensive hobby, let alone something that you want to do to make money from. So it just, being a young mother, being a teenage mother, it just wasn't a dream that I could fulfill at that age. So now that I'm 45, I'm like, sure, let's work it out. Let's figure out what we can do. So that was in February. I did not know that I would take this 5-week class and come literally the week after class is over, we're on lockdown.
Yes.
Who knew? I did not know. And so I take the class. Like I said, the pandemic comes, we're on lockdown. Like, this was when we couldn't go outside. Like, we thought the air was going to kill us and burn us to the hell. So I'm inside with my controller, nothing but music, internet access. And I'm just practicing, I've got these tools that I've learned these past 5 weeks, and I'm just practicing them on the internet. I'm sharing with you guys my journey. Like, I'm bored. Y'all are bored. Let's be bored together. Might do some IG lives. You know what I'm saying? And so it really wasn't, it was just God's timing. As I always say, I never said this is going to be my pandemic baby. It just kind of happened. And because we were on lockdown way longer than we had expected. We thought, a couple months and we'll be outside. Girl, no, 2 years later, we just getting back outside. And so I had a lot of time to really hone in what I learned. And so that's why now we're 2 years later and it kind of looks like I know what I'm doing, but that's because I literally spent the first year, 2020, every day, all day, 6 and 7 hours. My husband will tell you, like, I literally just sat at our living room table, scratching, figuring out how to transition, listening to music. Even now, like, I watch TV every now and then, but most of the time I'm up here listening to music. So in short or long, I think it took a long time, but in long, that's how I got to DJing.
It's still the fact that you took that time and perfected your craft and you're still practicing it. I think that's something that a lot of us miss. We have this dream, we have this goal, and we expect it to just fall in our lap, but it takes work. And you and I were talking a few weeks ago, talking about how in the field that we're both in, how people come to us for help, but then they don't realize, like, hey, you got to do the work. And it's constantly. And let's just share about that. So you are our wellness hype girl.
I try.
You are, I call you like a sister in grief, which I need a better name for that because that just sounds so down. But Ty is also teaching people. I love your mission, how you're teaching people how to live in gratitude. Like just realize that you can experience grief, but you can actually have gratitude that goes with it. And a lot of people feel like that's an oxymoron. But the reality of it is, it's a mindset shift. It's a mindset growth, and it's work. But once you do the work, you can end up like really thriving through the grief. So take us on that journey of how you went from your original blog, Gorgeous and Gray, which I absolutely love. Like, I found you because of your beautiful hair. Let's just say that. I actually found you on your wedding.
Oh, yes.
Yes. I started following you at your wedding. I was like, gosh, she's so pretty. Like, I love her hair. But tell us how you transitioned from Gorgeous and Gray to self-care IRL, which is self-care in real life.
Well, I started blogging just because I needed something to do. I loved style and fashion and beauty. And so at the time, back in 2010, everyone was blogging or doing something. Mm-hmm. And so I started the blog. But then it became like, what else do I talk about? And for me, it was kind of, I'm like an accidental advocate, because of course, people know my mom passed away in 2013. And the internet is my friend. Like, y'all know, like, y'all are I know y'all from the internet, and that's a thing now. But back then, that's all I had, mm-hmm. And so when I was looking for, doctors at Johns Hopkins, when I was looking for how to, deal with hair loss, like I was looking for all of these things, and I just wasn't finding the support that I needed. And so I said, well, let me just create something, because I don't see Black women can't be this strong that they're not hurting, right? And so I'm like, well, let me just create something. And so that's how Self-Care in Real Life was birthed, just out of the need. And luckily now there's a lot, there's a plethora of Black women who are talking about these things now, which is amazing. But 6-7 years ago, we were on the sidelines, kind of still praying about it in church, and we both know that ain't enough.
That's not enough.
It's not enough.
Not enough.
And so Self-Care in Real Life was really just birthed out of the own need. Selfishly, I needed someone to talk to that knew what it was like to have a mom who wasn't here anymore, who would, a mom who actually, meant so much in your life. And so when that's gone, it's like, well, what am I supposed to do now? What do I do with this? How do I cope? And so, of course, there's those textbook, grieving things, 7, however many steps there are, which we're learning there aren't really the right steps, whatever. But it's like, well, what happens next? Where do I go? And so a part of the Self-Care in Real Life journey, as people know, I'm figuring out with you. And so I enjoy, I say I'm not the expert. I'm just the person willing to talk about my journey first. And hopefully you'll be able to listen and learn on what I'm learning. And then we can learn together. Maybe you can teach me something while I'm still learning, and maybe I can teach you something. I think expert is an overused term. I think, especially when we talk about healing, there is no destination. We're always always learning something. We're always evolving as human beings. And so that's basically what self-care in real life is. This is you and I doing it together.
I love that. I love that you said it's a journey, because I think people really do think that it's a destination. And grief, as you know, it's rude. It doesn't care when it shows up.
Yeah.
You can be like, I just went 16 years at the time that we're recording this, 16 years and my daughter passed away. And child, I went through the motions like, wait a minute. But I tell anybody, you know, grief has no time limit, but the way that you process it and the way that you go through it should change. Like, yes. I did not completely fall out the way that I did the night my daughter passed away. I had my moments, trust and believe, but I knew what to do. I called somebody. I was like, hey, best friend, can you come sit with me? So it's things like that. You did an episode on your podcast, which is one of my favorites. Can this just be a stand podcast for Ty Alexander? I mean, for real. But you did an episode, and I was sitting in here and I was like, yes, Ty, girl, yes. You did an episode where it was talking about the things not to say to people.
Because girl,
you said that with your whole chest, and I was up here like, yes.
And yes, I was really in the backstory for context, I was really irritated by one Facebook post of, like I said, a friend internet friend, right? His mom had died. And I just clicked on the post and there were like 600 comments, right? Because he's a pretty popular guy, you know. And so I'm looking and every last one of the comments say, sorry for your my condolences. Sorry for your loss. I said, do we not have nothing else to say? Like nothing? It's gotta be other things to say. It's gotta be. And I think that those are terms that are good for like funeral homes. You know, I think it's pleasantries, salutations that you say as, you know, as I'm laying someone to rest, you know, but I don't think that those are even good for an internet friend and especially not for a family member or a close friend or your best friend. Like, you should be able to find better words to convey your empathy or sympathy for someone.
And that's the thing. A lot of people don't know how to navigate grief because we're not taught that, like, especially us. We're taught to go pray about it. We're taught to go to the church or go to the pastor. I'm like, no, I am team prayer. I am team, hey, Jesus is my boo. But even Jesus told me, like, girl, go get some professional help because
even Jesus, I feel like, had therapy. But I mean, I think you hit it on the nose, the nail on the nose, whatever the term is. I can't get my words out today. But I think it's also that not only do we not know what to say, right? I think we also just don't deal with our own grief.
Yes.
So when it's presented to us from someone else's perspective, we really don't know what to say. Because we're like, well, hell, I didn't deal with my mom dying 10 years ago. So I don't know what to do with you, whose mom just, you know, like, I have no idea. And so it's kind of twofold. Like, not only do you have to figure out what to do with your own grief, you have to figure out how to respond to someone else's. And you're right, we don't talk about either of them.
We're taught to be strong. And I'm like, no, that's the worst time to try to be strong, because you're trying to be strong and you're already at your weakest moment. And you don't know the wind could shift and you're in a ball of tears and you're crumbling. And I'm like, no, let's stop telling Black women to be strong.
Well, and the crazy part, I say this a lot on my Instagram stories, I think the word that we're looking for, or we should be looking for, is to be vulnerable, right? Yeah. I remember when I was sharing about my mom, like, I shared the same way I shared about my wedding. I shared about my mom dying. I shared all the doctor visits. I shared what happened. I shared when she was dying. I shared when she was going to hospice. And people were like, oh my God, you're so strong. You know, I can't believe you're not. I'm just vulnerable. I'm really vulnerable. I'm also, what I've learned about me, I'm my best self when I'm vulnerable.
Yes.
When I'm able to be comfortable, when you make me comfortable enough and I'm vulnerable, we're best friends now.
And vulnerability to me is healing.
Exactly.
And it helps to alleviate the pressure of feeling like you have to be on all the dang time.
Listen, because sometimes I don't feel like it.
No, especially on these internet streets. I'm like, I tell people when you come on my Instagram, it's like, child, you might see me on a live and I'm taking these lashes off because I'm getting ready for bed, but I'm coming in here to check on my friends. But I'm not like this all of the time.
And you're gonna run and joke. Sometimes I don't brush my hair, sis.
I love it.
I will block you if you say something about my non-edges, okay? Because I will clean up, but it ain't gonna be all the time. I'm not gonna be on all the time.
Right, because life be lifing.
Life be lifing.
Like, who looks like put together all the time? Something's wrong. I'm gonna look at you funny if I see you put together all the time, like sis. So I truly, truly appreciate what you are doing in this space and allowing yourself to be vulnerable and just giving us like it's a good kiki. There's not a day when I don't come to your page and I get a good kiki or get in a text message. And I'm like, I needed that.
So happy. Oh my goodness.
I needed that. I'll text you back like, you'll know what I needed that. Like it was one day, I can't remember because I'm over 40 now, child. The memory does its own thing. But I was having a really, really bad day, and one of your text messages came through, and I just pulled over the car and I just went because I needed that. And I appreciate the fact that you are vulnerable and you're touchable, but you're touchable at the point where you're like, I realize you have your private life. And I love that you're giving that example of how can I be touchable, but not touchable? You know what I mean?
Listen, because I try to tell people, you don't really know me. And when you cross one of them boundaries, I will correct you.
Exactly.
But I still, with love, I still love you.
I love it.
I do. But there are, I think one of the things that we miss as Black women, especially as Black influencers or, experts per se, is the boundaries of things, right? Like, I think it's really important that we are touchable or relatable, that we're able to, change lives in the way that we do. But how do you stay sane, right?
Yeah.
Like, it would be like against everything I said with self-care in my life if I didn't focus on my own self-care. So yes, there are boundaries and there's some things you just can't say to me. I don't care who you are, especially not an internet person. Like we're not doing that.
We're not doing that because you don't know. I say, if you don't know my middle name, you don't know me.
You don't know me, sis. But I'm glad that you're here. I think that there's just fine lined boundaries that we need to create, again, as internet personalities, internet, people, because it does appear as if you know me, because I am letting you into some of the most vulnerable times of my life. But that doesn't change that you don't know me.
You don't. So tell us about, I know you have Self-Care in Real Life, the retreat, which I am like trying to get to, because I think we would be such a mess in Mexico together.
It's always a mess in Mexico, sis.
I think it would be so crazy in Mexico.
Because not for nothing, I think people think that it's like this therapy session. It's really not. It's not. It's me and my internet folks. I think this time we have about 15 girls coming, and we just have fun, dance, drink, eat food. Every now and then we might pray. I might do a meditation. But it really is just me gathering some folks together just to come and release. I think far too often we don't plan to relax, right? Yeah. The pampering is good. The getting your nails done, the hair, all that part of self-care is good. But when do you plan to sit still?
That part. Well, I'm going to make it to Mexico. Like,
listen,
that is my goal. But it sells out so quick. So y'all, if you're watching this, follow Ty. And when she releases the tickets for Self-Care in Real Life, the retreat, don't take my spot, but you get yours, okay?
I love it.
So tell me how, well, I know the inspiration behind your book was your mom. Was that another tool that came about because it was something that you were looking for, could not find, and you just created it?
So I had written a blog post about a blogger Karen, I can't remember her last name. I'm so mad that I can't. Karen Walker, I think I'm gonna name. Um, she had a blog about brown girls wearing red lipstick. And I had did a blog post because she had committed suicide. Her and I had been in contact prior to that because her mother had also died. And we only talked via email. She was actually from Baltimore at the time. I was living in New York. So we'd only talked via email. And this was, again, pre me kind of being, the grief, expert or whatever. So I'm 6 months into grieving myself. And so I'm trying to give her tips, take the pictures with your mom's hands, do all these things, as her mom was transitioning. And once her mom transitioned, she wasn't well. And when I got through, I remembered like yesterday, I woke up one morning and I was on Facebook and everyone was talking about this blogger who had committed suicide. And I go and it's the girl that I've been talking to. And I am absolutely devastated. I feel responsible. I'm like, what could I have done? All these things. So I wrote a blog post, even kind of detailing our, email relationship, screenshots, all that kind of good stuff. Because again, I at the core of who I am, I'm a writer. And so I document this and whatever. So the story gets picked up by Cosmopolitan, lots of, magazines at the time pick it up. A publisher reaches out to me a few months later and they're like, I think there's a book here. I was like, I ain't writing no book. I'm a blogger. Who's writing books? Because again, that was like 2015, 2016 when I wrote the book, 2015 when I started writing it. There weren't bloggers who were writing books. That wasn't a thing for us. We were just these people who kind of knew how to complete sentences. And we have these blog posts, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't a thing for us, right? And so I put it off. I'm like, I ain't writing no book, but they kept going, you sure we could write a book about this or you could do about this. You have a large following and I'm not writing nobody book. So a year goes by, and the person who I was talking to got fired or left or whatever. And the next person had their email. Her name was Erica. And so she reached back out and she was like, I was going through old emails and I saw this and I really do think you have a book here. I was like, this ain't God. I don't know what it is.
Right.
Because these people keep hounding me about this daggone book that I've said no to 10 times. So I remember this was like October and I was about to go on a cruise. And I said, well, if I can write like a chapter while I'm on this cruise, I'll let you know. So I get on the cruise and I'm by myself, just chilling. And I was able to write some words. And I was like, I guess I'll see. And so I worked with the publisher and she was like, here are some options. Because at first I was going to write, I'm glad I didn't write about these things, but at first it was going to be about, this is funny, I've never told anybody this either, it's exclusive. At first it was going to be the power of the Kiki. And I was going to talk about like just networking on the internet. And then they were like, I don't know if that's going to sell. You sure you don't want to write about your mom? And I was like, I really don't want to keep talking about grief. It's such a sad topic and all that. And they're like, well, it doesn't have to be sad. Like it can still be funny. You can still curse. You can do all these things in your book. And so once I let go of the kind of norm of what like an author was, and I sat down, I probably took maybe about 6 months to a year to write it. And that's basically it. And then I just kind of winged it. And I was like, oh, I wrote a book, huh? Here we are. And so allegedly I was supposed to write 2 books, but I haven't gotten to the second one. So we'll see.
Oh, that second one is coming.
We're going to pray on that one too. We're going to pray on that one too.
Look, don't have God show up and show out again.
Listen, because God knows I'm hard-headed. I don't listen.
So now you
times.
Oh, okay. Lord, you heard that right.
You know. Let me tell you something about he know his child, okay? He is not unfamiliar.
So, but look at what has grown from this seed of the book. And it's just created all of these other avenues, all of these other things that make you even more you. Like, I just love how things just kind of fall into place like that.
Yeah, I think that was one of the biggest lessons I learned probably after my mom died. One of the last things she said to me was just do all the things, Don't ever not do something because you're too old or too young or too big or too whatever, do everything. And so because of that, I've not limited myself to a box, right? I've not said, well, I can only talk about beauty, or I can only talk about fashion. I can only talk about this. I've talked about everything, like I'm a human. I have thoughts, I have feelings about everything under the gamut of life. And that's what we're going to talk about. And so here we are.
That just hit me. Like, I was trying to hold myself together, but that just hit me. Like, don't limit yourself, because I think I find myself shrinking and limiting myself to some things. And I'm like, why? God has given us this beautiful life. And if anything, the last 2 years has taught me is to do all the things, because there could be a time where you can't.
Listen, if the pandemic has not taught us anything, it is to do all the things, because again, life is short or long, depending on which card you get, right? Mm-hmm. And so you never know what tomorrow holds. But when I'm on today, I'm going to do all the things, whatever those things is. And that some of those things might be doing nothing.
Yeah. And that's the beauty. That is the beauty of it.
That's the beauty of it, right?
People think I'm crazy. I would literally put on my calendar, nothing.
Nothing today.
What you doing? Nothing. You got plans? Yeah. No. What you doing? Nothing. But
I have scheduled nothing.
I've scheduled nothing, and I'm going to do, like everybody knows, on Sundays from 3 to 5, I'm taking a Sunday nap. Don't call me. Don't ask me to go anywhere, because I'm asleep.
I love it.
And that's been a thing for years.
You have to schedule those still moments, or the day, like I say a lot of times, the weeks will get ahead of you, right? And you'll look up and you're 45. Like I swear to God, I was 25 yesterday.
Look, my knees remind me daily
my
that
knees,
I'm not,
my back,
yeah,
my neck. Yeah. If I walk wrong, everything gonna remind me that I'm not that age anymore. But I can remember it vividly, like it was yesterday. Like I can remember when my son was young, and now he's 27. I'm like, how the hell get here?
That's true though. Because I was thinking, like talking to some of my girlfriends, we were reminiscing about being 18, 19, 20, and we were like out there just living. And I remember the time, it was crazy. I remember the time we went from Lancaster, South Carolina. We wanted to go to homecoming at Howard. Didn't have a job to first. We had, like, back then, gas was like 89 cents a gallon.
First of all, my God, bring them prices back.
Please, Lord, please. Because $5 was really gas money then. Really? Now it's a tank. It's a gallon. But we went from Lancaster, South Carolina, all the way to DC at Howard's homecoming with like $10 between us. But that was the best road trip going and coming, because we just lived. And I'm like, what happens to us when we get to the point where we don't just live? Like we don't be adventurous anymore. We don't be not necessarily throwing caution to the wind, because we don't be strategic in our living. And I just wish that we could bring that back, especially now, like with all of this stuff going on in the world. Like, come on, get up and live.
A lot of that is us just not being fearless, right? Like there's fear that comes in getting old, right? Like we're, especially in your 40s, you're in the preparation of things. Like you should have, so society says, right? Like you should be buying a house and you should have money saved up. Like, you should be preparing for retirement. And so when you think about all these responsibilities, or like preparing for the second quarter of life, it can get cloudy when you think about being fearless and living. Like that's a hard task, and to be able to be responsible. So I understand why it happens, but I think, to your point, if we're able to really live kind of fearlessly while actually preparing for the second quarter of life, we would have a much more enjoyable time.
Because fear is always going to be there.
Listen,
it's going to always.
She is just as much a part of your life as grief is. Like it's never going to be a time where, like, when people ask me, like, well, how did you get past fear? I don't.
You just do it afraid. Like you do it afraid.
I'm never not going to be afraid about the past or the future or what's happening never, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're never not going to be afraid. And so if I spent my entire life not doing it because I was afraid, I wouldn't do anything.
Exactly.
I wouldn't.
I wish that people will understand that fearlessness does not mean that you don't have the fear there. Correct. It's like, break the word down, fearless. Like, am I going to allow this fear to have more over me, or I'm going to see you right there, but I'm going to put you in this little pocket right here, so I don't go off the deep end, because I think sometimes fear is a good thing, you know.
Very much so.
It is in its proper place, but I'm going to go out here and I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to live this dream, because what we tend to do is, like, when people care, and you tell me if you've experienced this, when people love you and care about you, or they tend to put their fears on you, and they're quick to say, "Oh, well, I wouldn't do that. Like, I know you wouldn't. That's why you still."
I don't care no more. Listen, please don't come to me talking about what you wouldn't do, because it's clear you're not me.
Right? Like, you did not catch this vision, boo. So I'm going to go out here and do it. So when it succeeds, don't look at me crazy. It's
clear.
So what is next for Ty? Or can you share?
It's crazy. People ask me that all the time, and I'm not a big planner, which is part of my problem sometimes. As you know, I could be better at planning, but I never plan to do anything. So I have no idea what's next. I'm definitely the fly by the seat of my pants kind of girl, and whatever vision or whatever God sets forth at the moment, it is DJing, it's music. I love it. I don't think I'll ever not talk about wellness. It's just something that's completely embedded in me at this point. Helping Black women specific. It's funny, I did a podcast today, and I talked about how in the beginning, I was very afraid to say I was talking to Black women, right? Oh. Like I was like, oh, it's for everyone. I'm not for everyone. I am specifically for Black women. But things can be true at the same time. You can be a trans woman and understand what I'm saying. You can be a white woman and understand what I'm saying. But I'm specifically talking to women who look like me. And so I'm no longer just on the fence about what my goal is or what my purpose is. My purpose is to be a light for love and example to women who look like me, because there's not enough of us.
Right. Do it unapologetically. You know, I'm the same way. I remember having someone tell me to, because I was doing an event, and every person that I had on my flyer, including me, was Black, and it was intentional. But I allowed this person, because they had some weight to their name. I allowed them to talk me out of doing that event, and that's one thing that I don't have regrets. Yeah. But that's one thing I wish I hadn't listened to.
I mean, well, you can always do it again, sis.
Yeah, I can. And now that I said it, why do I feel like you're going to hold me accountable?
Run it
back, rewind, and then it'll be better, because I'm a lot wiser, and I have even better people in my life. So we, we can definitely.
But I think that just like when no one questions when they're, well, now we do sometimes, but oftentimes we don't find it odd when it's just 5 white women on a flyer talking about wellness. We're going to show up because we still love those 5 white women, and I think the same should hold true for the 5 Black women. And I think unless we do it, it's not going to become the norm. Like, diversity and inclusion is great, but at the end of the day, I need y'all to make Black being cool too.
Yes.
Like, it's not just something that y'all put on.
Yes. Once a year during Black History Month.
Yeah, you put a little Black square up or something. And, okay.
We set the trends. We're not just the trends. Like, let's just be real. Because we're magic. Like, without us, y'all would be so boring. Let's just be real. Without us,
we could have a whole podcast about the things that Black women have contributed to this culture, if not all, many at least.
And very underserved,
underappreciated, under everything. And so again, I am unapologetically talking to Black women all the time.
I love it. Well, thank you for talking to me, because
Absolutely.
You're definitely a light in my life. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I know you had you had a health issue this
Girl,
past year.
girl.
Thank you for sharing that story. But
You
I'm gonna
could
tell you
just
right
say
now,
I
sis.
almost died.
Yeah, you are. She look. I didn't want to say it, but since you put it out there, like, yeah, she almost, yeah, she went through it, y'all.
Chad, I
And
thought I was gonna be out of here. I said, "Oh Lord, I'm not ready yet, but if you want me to come up there, I will." I guess.
but the fact that you shined a light, shone a light. English is not my thing. Best friend, if you're watching this, yeah, I used the wrong word. Forgive me. But the fact that you put that into, first of all, they don't listen. A lot of times, medical staff, they don't listen to Black women. Like, we know
You
our
know, a lot of
bodies.
times, this all the times. Like
Like,
I had to, and again, I had fibroids most of my life, and then it wasn't until I had gotten a Black OBGYN that she heard me. It like immediately gave me a vaginal sonogram immediately. And so it just, they do not listen. And I'll be quite frank, sometimes she didn't listen either. Because it just is embedded in our medical culture that Black women can sustain pain, that we're not, it's such an odd and weird thing to me, to think or believe that Black people, especially Black women, don't feel pain. And a part of, like I explained in a few of my podcasts that I did, like even I'm a guilty because I was tolerating the pain. Like I'm thinking, it's not that bad. It'll go away. How's way? How's it gonna go away? It ain't just gonna magically go. Things just don't magically go away. But that's also how we end up with these severe diseases. And if you're not being an advocate for your own wellness, again, this is how you get down into that really deep hole of other issues happening because of that one issue that you didn't take care of.
Because it does compound.
It does compound.
And it just, and we deserve, I think we need to start saying to ourselves out loud, I deserve being whole. I deserve to be treated well. I deserve to have nice things. I deserve to have self-care. Like, if we start looking at ourselves like we are deserving of these things, I think that it will make a big difference. I think that we will start we will be able to advocate for ourselves a lot more if we start just kind of changing the misconception about us. Yeah, we are all that, but we're still human. Like, I believe just like anybody else.
Listen, I think one of the things also in that is for us to understand as we're bringing up the next generation, right? Like, I think we're at the point where we should be thinking about our legacy and our children, right? And so as we're raising these young girls, reminding them that they too deserve, love and to be able to express how they feel. It's crazy. I was talking to one of my friends and she has a daughter, and her and I got into a little situation because the daughter didn't want to do something. And I said to her, how is it that she's going to know that no is okay if when she tells you no, you tell her to do it anyway? And I said, we have to really think about the things that, again, are deeply embedded in us, right? From the culture. And as far as I'm concerned, it's slavery culture. I don't know if that's a thing, but it's directly associated with how we lived in slavery, right? And so if we don't allow our children, especially our young girls, to understand that permission, right, is theirs and only theirs. I was at a baby shower what was that, Saturday, and the little girl was kind of like running around and her mom was calling her. And so I said, come here. And she said, and I said, you're right, because you don't know me. And it's not until you allow it. We don't think about it, right? Because it's like, I want them, they're a kid, they don't know any better. But at some point we have to understand that they're actually human beings.
Yes.
Like, you're actually molding a person. And so again, if you're teaching them that it's not okay to say no to an older person or to a man or to a boy,
I get it. Yeah. You just
It's gonna
unleash the
be
whole
it's gonna
thing.
be right. So it's gonna be really hard for you as an adult now. You're 45 and you're trying to express to your doctor that something is wrong, and they're the one who's holding the degrees, and they say, "Well, that's not how that works. It doesn't." Da, 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 da. And so then you go home and say, "Oh, okay, I guess not." I don't ever learn how to challenge that. Like I'll never learn because I spent all of my 20s, all of my teens understand that authority matters over my own permission, over my own knowledge of my own body.
Ooh, that right there. That's tweetable. Well, we're not tweeting anymore. Anyway.
Oh, no. Girl, I'm about to throw that whole thing away. I'm about to throw that whole app away. My gosh. That's a whole nother podcast episode.
Like, what is happening? What is
I said the word. It's a weird times we're in, sis. It's really weird times.
Look, like my mom used to say, I never would have thunk it. Like
I never would have thunk it. Listen, money make you do some things, and I really hope that this is so off topic, but I really hope that with those $1 billion, they create something else, because I do think in business, right, you should be able to create something to the point where it is sellable, right? Mm-hmm. But with that, I hope, and I kind of feel like that's where we're going, right? Because I feel like there's some smart kids over there at Twitter, right? But I feel like they're going to take that billions of dollars and they're going to create something even better. So I ain't going to call it quits on them, but I'm not going to be with the rest. I can't. It's going to be weird. I'm just going to tell y'all right now.
This too much. Like we got the metaverse. We got the metaverse coming on, and I'm like, look, I can barely maneuver real life. You want me to do this on virtually too? Child, bye. I'm just like, how?
It's a lot. I mean, I do think, for what it's worth, especially when we talk about like being Black and being well, I think being versed in lots of different areas of technology is probably our pain point. Which is one of the reasons why I'm kind of intrigued by the metaverse. I don't really like it. Like, it's a little weird. But I think we fall so behind because we're not in that tech field where we are like 0.01 something % in Silicon Valley when we think about, NFTs and the metaverse and things like that. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens next. Because yes, sis.
Have you seen the virtual influencers? Like it's a I can't remember her name. I'm gonna have to find it and send
like
the page to her.
Like the not real people,
but they look like real people.
Yeah. It's like an Asian white one.
Yes.
Yeah. I see. She's been around for a long time. Like, she was here before. This was like 2018, 2019 when I first found her, but then it got popping when we were locked down because, we were Googling, we had nothing else to do. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's not a bad thing, but I think that in the grand scheme of like representation, I think it's just not needed at times. Like, technology can get ahead of ourselves when we haven't really solved the problems that we have. Like, there's tons of models out there of all different ethnic groups and backgrounds and colors that aren't getting work. But you would like to create this virtual person
and paying big money.
Make it make sense.
Paying big money, like big
contracts. And I wouldn't be opposed if you were getting these big contracts and maybe this virtual person was connected to a foundation or a cause or a purpose, and that was feeding money back into something else. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, make a little bit of sense. Just a smidget.
It doesn't. Yeah. And I looked at that thing. I'm like, whoa, why didn't I think of that?
My husband codes and does things. And so when we had first found her, we were looking online I was like, we should create a fat one, a big girl version. Then I lost interest. I was like, this, whatever. Look, I'm tired.
Leroy. I know we're talking to you, but how's Leroy? I feel like he's family too.
He's fine.
So her husband's real name is not Leroy, but that's what she calls him.
But that's because y'all don't know him, so
you don't know him. So he's gonna be Leroy. I love it. So let's do a quick lightning round.
Okay.
I love to do this with guests. I kind of go off the dome and just See what comes off of your dome. So we're just kind
Okay.
of going to feed off of each other, okay?
Okay.
First question, 90s R&B or 2000s R&B and hip hop?
Oh, it's funny because this is supposed to be rapid, right? I'm
Yeah.
bad at these things. 90s R&B.
Yes, that's the best music. That was the best. I don't care what anybody say. Y'all can fight me on that. But I
Yeah,
stand on that.
it's funny because when I did the baby shower this weekend and she wanted 90s R&B, 90s and 2000 R&B. And what I realized as I was putting my set together is 2000s R&B is really almost like 2000 hip hop, because then we started getting into the music that had either rap hooks or rap songs with R&B hooks. And so, which in my mind is still, all that is still hip hop to me. And so 90s R&B was like all like we singing, we in love, we begging somebody to do something. Like that was 90s R&B. So 90s R&B for the win.
Beach or mountains?
Beach, because I'm not climbing nothing. I'm not climbing a damn thing, sis. Mountains feel like work.
Oh my gosh, I didn't think about that. That's true. I'll take the beach as well. Cocktails or coffee?
Cocktails. Who don't want liquor?
Facts. Let's see. Morris Chestnut or LL Cool J?
Oh, Morris Chestnut. LL Cool J head is funny looking.
Morris got that smile, like he
just got some swag, a little dark chocolate thing.
Yes, Morris Chestnut.
LL Cool J can't take his hat off. Don't nobody want that.
I cannot.
You know he can't take his hat off, sis.
I cannot.
You're gonna be like, sir, put that back on. Okay.
Oh gosh. Oh, wait, let me gather myself. Don't do that to me. Let's see. Miami or LA?
LA. Miami is like, yeah. I don't really love Miami. Miami is like, you've been there, done that. There's so many things in LA that I could see or do. And the food is good over there, I feel like. Miami is not my steez.
Who has the best brunches? DC or New York?
Oh. So I don't really frequent DC brunches. New York brunches be it. Like they brunch from like 11 to like 10 at night.
It's like a day party.
It's a day, it's an all day affair. Okay. I DJ'd at Boulevard Bistro last summer and we were literally there all day. Like it was daylight and then it got to be nighttime. And then it was like real dark. Then we left that spot and went to another spot. Like,
my goodness.
It just don't stop.
So what is your dream DJing event?
You know, I did that whole I did a bucket list that I had wrote down. There's lots of dream things. I think in my mind, what would make it really cool was if I could DJ at like Swiss Beats house or Diddy's house. Probably Swiss Beats. I don't know about Diddy. Diddy feels a little but I think I would love to DJ at like Swiss Beats house. He actually lives in that Marvel house. It used to be.
Yes.
I know, right? Their house is amazing.
And
so
the
I think
view,
like,
oh my god.
the view was, I feel like if I could DJ like on their lawn and like you could see the stuff, yes. I'm gonna say Swiss Beats house. I still think it's possible because I think anything is possible, honestly. Yes.
So if you go, can sis get an invite? Like, I'll be there. I take good pictures. Look, I can run a camera. I got you.
Yeah, I would say I got everybody to work. You gonna have to do something.
Look, I'll work.
I'm in charge of making sure the plug don't come out.
That part.
We gotta have power.
If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go?
This is gonna sound very cliche, but I wish I could go to heaven just for a little bit and see the people that are not here anymore. I just want to check on them. I kind of want to see what heaven is like before I get there. Like, where y'all be staying at?
Mansions.
Right, you know what I'm saying? Like, is it like in the Bible? Is it like, man, do the golden gates like they open when I get there, or is there a line? Like, I have lots of questions. Like, I'm like, when I do go, I'm gonna have so many questions for God. Like, you gotta explain to me how you came up with all this. Like, I have lots of questions because I kind of feel like you don't just get to go to heaven. Like, it's probably a waiting period. Like, you gotta stand outside for a little bit, depending on how many discretions you had. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I just have lots of questions.
I do too. See, I told you because it's in my head. But I do have questions for God because I look at like History Channel and Nat Geo and things like that, and I look at animals like the giraffe. Like, God, what was this? Like, how did you come up with this?
How did we get here?
How did we get here? So you just
how did we get here? I just have questions.
Yeah.
And mainly because I want to see, like, so is my mom up there with Prince and them, or is that a different part of heaven? Like, how, like, is there a VIP part of heaven, or is like once we get to heaven, are we all like Gen Pop?
I wonder that too, because I wonder, like, when I get there,
is Prince still Prince in heaven?
Right. Like, how are the concerts? Like, are there concerts in heaven? I've always wondered that.
So yeah, I could go any place in the world. I would go to heaven, but I don't want to stay there though.
See, I would be like, maybe I do want to stay because it's supposed to be paradise. And you think about it, you don't have to deal with all this craziness. I'll miss y'all. I'll come visit you in your dreams, but
only if I could take some people with me though. Gotcha. I don't want to go live by myself. I'm like, can we send for some people? I need some friends, please.
I love it. So is there anything else you would like for the Charging Station fam to know?
Just to remember to choose joy. I think we forget often enough as we move about our day, you know, to-do lists going to do. Life is still going to be there when you wake up tomorrow. So at some point in the day, remember to choose yourself, remember to choose joy, create some happiness, you know, even if you have to your point, schedule it, you know, think about the things that make you happy. Lots of us can't create the joy because we don't know what makes us joyful. So the first step might be figuring out what makes you happy. And then, like I said, just create joy. I don't think enough of us think about joy in that way. We really do think that it's a passive thing and it's just going to come. And it's like, no, it doesn't work that way. You have to actually create the joy. You have to make it a constant thing in your life. And so, yeah.
I love that you said that. That was just a confirmation for me because, again, you know, celebrating my child's life, but dealing with the grief and the loss. And my big sister and mentor actually said to me, you need to choose joy. All the time. She had me to create a joy itinerary. So the same way that I created an itinerary for a trip, I have a joy itinerary, and it has been an amazing experience. So yes. Do you still have the challenge? Your 5-day challenge?
The gratitude challenge?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up on the website. Anyone can take it. It's an easy thing to do. Like I said, I think in addition to creating joy, we don't think about gratitude and the little things that we can do. Gratitude actually changed and saved my life when I think about grief. I think about death differently. It's not death for me, right? Isn't this daunting thing that happens to people. Like, I don't own human beings. I don't own, you know, my dad, my mom, whoever. I am here to experience their life for as long as they're here with me. And when they move on, I hope to meet them again later. But I can't really, you know, be happy about what they've given to me if I'm sad or sorrow all the time about their death. Like, their death isn't the main character in my love.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, the death sometimes takes over. Like, I had my mom for 36 years. So the only thing that mattered in her life was her death for me. That's insane. There's lots of things. I have a unlimited amount of memories with me and my mom. And so, yes, while the death is a moment that happened that I get sad about, I immediately go think about all the laughter we had, times about my hair. Like I remember I shaved this out of my hair. I had went my mama had sent me to around the corner. Actually, we live in like the backwoods. I'm from the country in Maryland. And she had sent me down, get my hair done. That's the first time I go by myself. I was like, I go myself. You ain't got to come with me. I'll be all right. And so back then, Salt and Pepper had came out, right? And so I showed the lady the hairstyle. I said, I want my hair like this. You know, you got the hair cut like this and a little mushroom on the side. Cut it. Mind you, I had long hair. That lady said, I feel like your mom wouldn't like that. I said, no, don't call her. Don't call her. She already said that I could do this. I might have been like 12 or something. Girl, I came home. My mama said, you have lost your mind. You're going to have to go back and get your hair. I said, I just thought. She was like, I don't know what you thought. And so again, I was grounded for a long time. Lots of things, lots of my memories ended with me being grounded, but they're still funny stories. So, now that I think about it. But my point is, I think that there's so many stories that we have with our loved ones that don't necessarily lead with death, right? And far too often we allow grief to be the story, and really love is the story, right? Like grief is just the end of that love, but that isn't the main character of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, Ty, I can talk to you all day, but I know that you are a busy woman. You're probably getting ready to go and do a set. Are you getting ready to do a live DJ set?
No, I'm going to practice. And since I have on makeup, I'll probably record some videos since I put on some makeup for you today.
Thank you.
It was funny because this is the crazy part. I wasn't, right. And I said, I like my skin. I look nice bare. So we downstairs eating dinner. And it was like 7:30. And my husband said, don't you got to get ready to go? I said, yeah. He said, you're not going to put no face on? I guess I'll go put some face on then. But he's right. I would have been mad if I got on here and you got all this nice brown skin, got a little blush happening, and I don't have nothing on. So
that's because I went to work today.
I mean, this is work for me, technically.
Yeah. I mean, I had to go out of the house now. When I work from home, we don't look like that.
and that's me, because I don't leave the house unless I got to go to the store or something. So, or if I go to my gig on Thursdays, but I'm here. So half time my edges ain't even combed. So
I love it. You are my fave.
Oh, thank you.
And I just so appreciate you. And one of these days we're going to meet in person. I'm going to have to make it to Baltimore, because I don't know if I shared this with you. I'm from Southeast DC.
Oh yes, and you have to come visit. We can meet halfway, or just Baltimore is not the same anymore. I still will on my mama grave, I will say that Baltimore is indeed better than DC. Our food is better. The drinks are not as high. You get the same thing for less money.
I have to agree with you on that. I really do. But thank you so much for being here with the Charging Station family. Totally appreciate you. And however we can serve you, you just let us know. We're going to continue to keep it up in the DMs,
just click on the things. Like I told y'all today, if I tell you click on something, click on it.
Click on it and say thank you.
Click on it, save it, like it, comment. All those things matter.
So tell everyone where they can find you.
So my website is tyalexander.co. On Instagram, I am Ty Alexander. It took them forever to give me my name, by the way. We are still working on Twitter, but we about to quit Twitter, so who cares? But Twitter is Love Ty Alexander. And on TikTok, I am DJ Ty Alexander.
Follow her on every single platform. You will not be disappointed. We will link all of the links in the show notes. And make sure that you go to her website and take her 5-day gratitude challenge and just support her in everything that she does, y'all. You will not be disappointed, because I'm telling you, it's a good kiki. It's a really good kiki. So Ty, thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much for having me today.